this replaced?
The first two aircraft bought under this arrangement both ended up being operated by the French. We're going to see the third. The first one operated exclusively on behalf of the Secret Intelligence Service. It was shipped to the UK aboard the SS Aquitania and reassembled at Eastleigh in Southampton in May 1939. It was registered Golf Alpha Foxtrot Tango Lima. And that, 85 years later, is the registration this aircraft now sports again. Running in straight in front of us, the Lockheed 12A Electra Junior.
Wow, what is this? I've never seen one.
This aircraft almost immediately was converted for reconnaissance work by the Cunliffe Owen and Airwork companies. Between them they installed two 16-inch square camera ports in the bottom of the fuselage for a pair of F-24 reconnaissance cameras which had 10% overlap between them. In the cabin door they installed an aperture for a handheld camera, and there were even small camera ports added in the wing leading edges between the engines and the fuselage, each for a single forward-facing Leica camera. Assistant photographer, one Patricia Martin, who devised two further modifications which would be crucial to this aircraft's effectiveness. One of them was a teardrop window on the port side of the cockpit, which could act as another position for a handheld camera. And she also had the idea of fitting pipework to divert hot air from the engine exhausts across the lens of the starboard belly-mounted camera to stop it fogging up at higher altitudes. It went on to be flown operationally by Cotton himself and his co-pilot, the Canadian-born flying officer Bob Niven. And Niven's logbooks, which survive to this day, reveal the secret missions this aeroplane carried out. In mid-June 1939, this aeroplane flew to Malta, and from there it carried out reconnaissance sorties covering key points in the Italian Empire as far away as Italian Somaliland and Libya, such as naval bases and aerodromes. Then in mid-August 1939, it flew to the Wilhelmshaven area of Germany, out of its base at Heston near London, capturing Luftwaffe airfields and the East Frisian Islands. Later that same month, it photographed naval objectives in the North German coastal areas, again out and back from Heston. It also flew several times to Berlin's famous Tempelhof Airport on business associated with Sidney Cotton's cover story, which was as a representative of a manufacturer of colour photographic film. But it seems unlikely that it carried out any photography on those trips. It also visited a major international air rally in Frankfurt, again probably without photography. We know this because the camera doors had to be operated manually. So it was impossible for the aeroplane to carry out truly clandestine reconnaissance work. But nonetheless, these are fascinating flights. And not long before war broke out, it made one last visit to Berlin, associated with an abortive attempt to fly the Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring to Britain for peace talks. When war broke out, obviously the aircraft couldn't fly over Germany anymore, but it was still useful. It flew to Ireland's west coast to check on reports of German U-boats refueling there, and to Dutch and Belgian ports to see whether they had boom defences. It then came into RAF service. It was used as a support aircraft and on certain items of Secret Intelligence Service business, often before the armistice with Germany, the French armistice with Germany. It flew to France. But then in September 1940, a parachute mine was dropped on its hangar at Heston, and the aircraft was badly damaged. Then went back to the USA for repair, not until it sailed to fighter aviation engineering and its subsequent restoration to flight at Sywell by Air Leasing did it fly again in the UK. That wasn't for another 83 years. Its maiden flight following its latest restoration was on the 27th of March last year. And it tells really such an important part in the history of British military photo reconnaissance. We saw earlier the Rolls-Royce Photographic Reconnaissance Spitfire. Trace a direct line from the initial decision to purchase the Lockheed 12 on behalf of the Secret Intelligence Service through to the establishment of the high-flying, unarmed, long-range photographic reconnaissance capability the RAF would enjoy from 1940 onwards with different marks of Spitfire. Surviving airworthy aeroplanes with such provenance as this one don't come along every day. It's one of several Lockheed 12s that were associated with Sidney Cotton during his career. It's one of several Lockheed 12s still airworthy around Europe. This is the only one in the UK. And its base at Duxford.
It's absolutely incredible aircraft.
John Corley there, flying the Lockheed 12A Electra Junior. And very appropriately, rolling for takeoff is Peter.
Golf India, Brian 31,